Yeah, this is how Hollywood works, you know. You're seeing the behind the scenes. So, okay, should we, whatever. I'm just rolling. Okay. Welcome, everybody, to Meet the Drapers. So great to have you all here. It is so fun to be here in Abu Dhabi. We're here at the Abu Dhabi Finance Week, and it's amazing what's happened to Abu Dhabi. I come back here about every 6 months for maybe the last 10 years. And every time I come, it's a whole new place. There are new cities everywhere being built. The first time I was here, it was just a desert and maybe a few little lakes inside the desert. Now it's just a booming metropolis. I'm so excited to be here. The entrepreneurial spirit is thriving here. We've seen many really great companies here. Just as we were walking through the conference, it is really exciting to be here in Abu Dhabi. Are you all from Abu Dhabi, or are you from all over the world? Abu Dhabi. All right, welcome. If you're from all over the world, if you're from Abu Dhabi, thank you for having us here. So here's what we do at Meet the Drapers. We interview 4 entrepreneurs. Those entrepreneurs all do their best, and we fire at them. And then when they're finished, we decide, you guys decide, and we decide whether one of them moves on to the semifinals. The way we do that is you all get to vote with your applause, and that vote gets channeled through the crystal ball here, and then I try to read the crystal ball, and then I tell us all who has been moved on to the semifinal. Well, if they don't move to the semifinals, you can go out and go to meetthedrapers.com and vote and move some other people on to the finale. You can jump them right to the finale. So go to meetthedrapers.com. We now are, if you haven't seen our show, you can go to Draper TV and you see it, and it's absolutely hilarious. They do a lot of editing, so it's much more interesting than what we showed you. So we have today the honor of having 3 extraordinary judges. And since it's called Meet the Drapers, I always adopt the judges into the Draper family. And so welcome to the Draper family. So let me introduce our judges. We have, well, we'll go ladies first. Hasni Taleb. Is that about right? Hasna Taleb. Hasna Taleb. We have Hasna Taleb.
Yes.
And Hasna is a multi-award-winning stock trader and entrepreneur. She's the first Arab-American woman nominated as the she-wolf of NASDAQ. And you're going to have to explain that. A TV personality, partner, and CIO at Ento Capital with more than $2.8 billion assets under management.
We've made that 4.7 billion.
With more than $4.7 billion under management. Tell us about yourself, and welcome to Meet the Drapers. And now that I can pronounce your name, Hasni Taleb Draper.
Perfect. How much time do I have?
Months. You know, actually, it was interesting. I went to Cuba, and it turns out that Castro spoke for 13 hours straight. Stood up, spoke for 13 hours straight. So if you can break that would be good.
Awesome. Okay, so I had very humble beginnings. I left Morocco at the age of 17, and I went to the U.S. searching for the American dream. I enrolled to my bachelor's degree at that time, and then after I got introduced to the stock market, and I was like, what the hell can I do today to, find another source of income for me while I'm studying? So the stock market was the easiest thing for me because then I can trade penny stocks and I can grow a small account, right? And so I have started little by little, found the right mentors to help me do that. And then I started my career in Morgan Stanley. After 2 years and a half, I moved to NASDAQ. This is where they called me the she-wolf of NASDAQ because I was on the trading floor.
Oh, I thought it was because you threw really good parties.
Excuse me, that as well. After that, I saw the opportunity in the UAE, and I was like, maybe the UAE would be the next American dream. So I decided to move to Abu Dhabi, and I started my career with the Executive Council Government of Abu Dhabi. So I managed the whole EMEA business investments division. And after 3 years, I decided to launch my own startup. And so what nobody tells you is that it's so freaking hard to be an entrepreneur. And I just got used to the lifestyle of, working for the government and making money.
You didn't read my book, How to Be the Startup Hero. You got to read my book.
Yeah.
It shows the first 2/3 are how hard it's going to be.
I know.
And then the last third just give you a kick.
I know. And then after 2 years, I moved to Dubai. So I launched a startup there. And after 2 years, I decided to exit. I was like, it's so freaking hard. And then after that, I joined Enter Capital as a partner and CIO, managing 4.7 billion.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Well done. Good. It's just great to have you as a judge.
Thank
but
you.
Even greater to have you a part of the Draper family.
Thank you.
And you have the eyebrows, so that helps. So here to my left, we have Harry Ye. Is it Ye?
Yay.
Yay! Harry Ye. Harry is a highly accomplished hedge fund manager with a proven track record of success in the blockchain and crypto industry. Harry has made a significant contribution to the blockchain and crypto world, and Harry has possibly the most interesting apartment in all of Dubai. Harry, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Thanks for having me on the show. My name is Harry. I'm managing director of Huntington Tech Group, also the co-founder and early investor in the protocol called Life.com, spelled LIFE.com. My background is actually software engineering. I grew up in Canada, in Hong Kong, got my teeth at Microsoft and Packard, spent a lot of time in Silicon Valley. Worked and really tried as an entrepreneur, just an entrepreneur, I think, from birth for about, 15 years. Tried a bunch of things, really didn't work. Saw my friends getting wealthy from Google, Facebook, Uber. And then I was fortunate enough to stumble upon Bitcoin in 2013. I got in Bitcoin at about $60. Started one of the first hedge funds. We built a very successful OTC business in 2014. 2015, we were one of the only people where if you wanted to buy $5 or $10 million worth of Bitcoin liquid, we were the ones that were able to do it. Had my nice liquidity event in 2017, exited, invested in Ethereum, Cardano, EOS, Block One, and figured, I'd come to the UAE and retire just because there are amazing tax benefits here. 0% income tax, 0% capital gains, sunny weather all year round, and it was actually really amazing. One of my friends, Amin and Jonathan, they flew me here totally by random, and I stopped in and I met with 3 sovereign wealth funds the same day, like Adia, Mubadala, Adik, and I was walking through here, and I was the 3rd person to move into the 4 seasons here, and it was a complete ghost town. So it's it actually warms my heart to see how many people came here, because in 2017 I was like, this place is going to be the future for blockchain and crypto, and now everybody's here. And fast forward, I've invested in projects such as Phantom and we created about 16 billion in market cap value. Our hedge fund, I was managing about 2.3 billion, kind of at the peak. Obviously, it's been a bit of a roller coaster ride. So that's my story.
And Harry's apartment is really extraordinary. As a trader, you really need to know a lot of information going on at all times. And he's at the top floor of this beautiful apartment building, and you don't see the view at all because you see computer screens all the way around. And the only sort of little personality that I thought that was really fun was he has an extraordinary bobblehead collection.
Yeah.
Is that Tell us a little bit about the
Yeah,
model.
so two things actually. This apartment, it's kind of almost like a museum piece. So a lot of the even the investors and people that have come through, they would go to, I guess, the palace. They would go to Emirates Palace. They would go to the mosque, and then they would bring them to my apartment to kind of show what that entrepreneurs are actually moving here and really building up the space. But the bobblehead thing was just during COVID. We were like,
Oh, you're trapped.
yeah, we were
Hey,
trapped, so
we gotta do something.
we needed to buy something. So
You
there was all these little
Also need people to talk to.
yeah, yes. Yeah, we weren't allowed outside for 45 days. Yeah, in the apartment, so it was a Taliban.
Great. Well,
yeah.
so Harry, yay, Draper
Thank you.
is now a part of the family, and he also has eyebrows. So clearly part of the family. Zach Saffarelli is quite extraordinary. Zach, what I know of him was he started as a child actor, and I'm going to ask you to tell how did you start as a child actor and then become the head of this extraordinary enterprise, Damas Capital.
So, I actually started my investment career here on stage, on TV. So I was a child actor from the time I was a little kid. I was doing commercials, I was doing TV. You can find my IMDb page under my stage name, Zach Walker. It's a long story why my stage name was Zach Walker, not Zach Sefferon.
And there's a prize for anyone out there or in TV land to come and let us know when they saw Zach in a Star Trek episode.
Oh yeah, you gotta find me on Star Trek. So I started as a child actor, and I had all this savings, and my grandmother told me, you gotta buy bonds, you gotta invest your acting money. So I started investing in bonds, and I became super fascinated with it. I by the time I was in my early teen years, I was getting into stocks. I kind of stopped listening to my grandmother. She was too conservative. I wanted to get in the stock market. Blew a lot of my acting portfolio in the .com bubble. Then started thinking about risk management. And, throughout high school, always focused on finance. Quit acting as a teenager because, I decided finance was my thing. As much as I still love to be on stage. So quit acting, got my first job, and the only real job I've ever had in banking when I was 16. Got a job at Chase, their old subsidiary WAMU, their old acquisition WAMU, had an internship program for high school kids. So started my first real job in banking, and then went to college and actually dropped out of college. My dad got very sick, and he needed help. So I actually sold all my portfolio, used all my acting money to try to help my dad. And, everybody tells me you're a college dropout, you're living in a 250 square foot apartment, go get a job. And I didn't listen. I decided I wanted to be an entrepreneur. So I started my first little business, a little brokerage business, to help my dad to pay the bills, and ended up getting him back into great shape, into excellent healthcare, fully taken care of, went back to school, loved paying my way through school. When I was paying for it, I got a 4.0, which was a lot of fun. And then when I finished school, again, didn't listen to anybody because they all told me, job offer from Goldman Sachs, go start your career, work your way up the ladder. And I was like, I'm an entrepreneur. so I decided to start my own thing, started my first hedge fund straight out of college. Got into investment banking, and it's been a lot of fun. Came to Dubai about 10, 11 years ago now, and have just been part of the growth story that is Dubai as well. Dubai, Abu Dhabi, UAE. It's just an incredible place to be. Great place to meet entrepreneurs. Great place to meet people who really want to make a difference in the world and are really trying to change things. So it's been a lot of fun.
So Zach Seffarelli, Draper, has eyebrows, but we probably have to mark them up a little bit to get to the full Draper status. Yeah. Oh, good move. No. Okay, you've heard some great stories here of entrepreneurs who've gotten through the tempest, the hurricanes, all the trouble that they faced, and now let's introduce to you some entrepreneurs who are just getting started. They're trying to figure out what the world's going to look like in the future, trying to make it better. Let's bring on our first entrepreneur. But before we do, let's see what's going on behind the scenes. And now, if there's an eyebrow thing. So go ahead, do your eyebrows. There you go.
Too much.
All right, let's bring in our first entrepreneur. Let's see who we got. This is Katja Ali from Biosapien. Katja, give us your pitch.
Hi, my name is Dr. Ali, and I'm going to take you on a little journey. I want you to imagine someone that gets diagnosed with cancer, they get systemic chemotherapy, and within 4 to 5 hours they end up with nausea and vomiting. 4 to 5 days they end up with hair loss, and a couple of weeks later they end up with long-term complications. This is something I experienced with my dad. And the reality is that 1 in 3 people will end up with cancer in their lifetime. So what are we going to do about it? So my team of experts from the industry, including the FDA and pharma, combined 100 years together, came together for the last 5 years to make MediChip. There we go. MediChip is a 3D printed drug delivery platform, which is able to deliver the same type of chemotherapy that you would get systemically, but without any of the side effects. So really...
So let me, help me with this. This
Sure.
is, it's this paper thin chip, right?
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
tiny little thing. Do I
Yeah.
put it on the side of my neck? What do I do with it?
Yes, that's a great question. So you can actually put it on top of the tumor. You suture it on from the 4 corners that you see, and it provides the same chemotherapy for up to 1 month. So you could be roaming around, sleeping, doing groceries, but the cancer is still getting treated.
So there's a drug that goes transdermally into their... What's in this chip?
Yeah.
You have a drug in the chip?
We do, yeah.
And is it for like skin cancer, or is it for going inside the body?
It's inside the body for any type of solid tumor. So anything that you can touch. So this isn't for like blood cancer, for like solid tumors.
So
you put it in.
You put it on there,
Yep.
and then the drug somehow goes through your skin.
No. So like let's say you are going in for surgery, right? So they're going to your pancreas or they're going into your stomach for surgery. They go through a scope. They put this in directly on top of the
Put
tumor.
it on the
Yes,
tumor, right
yes.
in there.
Yeah, right on top, like a Band-Aid.
Oh, interesting. Well,
Yeah.
how do you keep it from slipping off?
So you see those 4 corners over there?
Yeah.
Right? That's actually where you attach the sutures onto the tissue on top of the tumor. It's meant to be delivered in that way. You can put more than one. So if the tumor is big enough, you tie the knots together to make a larger mesh, and then you put it on top of the tumor.
So instead of taking a drug that's fully systemic,
Yes.
you lose your hair and all that stuff, this is a drug that just goes right on the tumor and attacks it right there.
Right on.
What a cool idea.
So I'll tell you something even more cooler. Ready? So the thing we made this from is...
Are you the designer?
I am. I invented it in 2015 in the OR. So it's been 8 years in the making.
So while you were in the OR,
Yes.
were you being a cancer doctor?
No, so I was actually a third-year medical student assisting on a carotid artery dissection at McMaster University in Canada. And I came up with the idea to 3D print chemotherapy drugs in the form of a biodegradable mesh. And I haven't seen an OR since, so yeah. But the cool thing about the product is that it's actually made from sutures. So we manipulate the suture and we put the drug inside. And because the material's already been in the market for 40 years, we don't have to do the traditional phase 1, phase 2, phase 3. We actually can bypass all of that and get to clinical trials much faster. We've tested this in animals. It has better safety than chemotherapy, and it has, I'm not there yet, but it has better safety than chemotherapy, and it has better efficacy than standard chemo alone. So now we're raising $3 to $10 million to start clinical trials. Our partners include Memorial Sloan Kettering, MD Anderson, Vanderbilt, UC San Diego, UC San Francisco, potentially Cleveland Clinic here in the UAE. And the goal is to be able to bring this to market within the next 2 years.
what's your connection with Abu Dhabi?
So we're actually a part of Hub 71. Shout out. Woo! Woo! Like the best accelerator program. Super excited. We're cohort Lucky 13. So we're actually here so that we can accelerate our growth in clinical trials because there's more innovation here. There's a higher unmet need, and I'm actually from the region. So
Now, do you have to use it many times on the tumor? Do you have to keep putting things down there?
that's a great question. That's yet to be determined. That's one of the reasons why we need to raise some money to be able to test out exactly how many chips we need. We think that we can target it with 3 to 4 chips into the patient.
And how do you sell it? What's your plan to go to market, and how much does it cost?
I love that question. So our cost of goods in terms of how much it costs to make is double digits. And we sell this thing for $10,000 per chip. Sounds like a lot, but compared to IV chemotherapy, it's a fraction. We would actually be selling it unit to unit to hospital and healthcare systems. We're already in the talks of doing that. And then we'll be licensing other assets. So say Johnson & Johnson likes lung cancer. So we would sell it to them and then be able to license it there. And the best part is, oh, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, how much time does it take for it to start working? So once I apply it.
So 24 hours. So basically the moment it touches tissue, it gets activated. Within 24 hours, you get this burst release, which is like about 25% of the drug initially. So it gives that little kick. And then over 2 weeks, it releases from the 2 sides and then from the major parts of the chip itself over a course of a month.
So once you do chemotherapy, there are sessions that you do, right?
Yes.
So with this chip, you have to do them like every day or?
No. So it works on its own. Like you don't need to do anything. It just needs to be in the body for up to a month. And then after a month, just like you would have to go and get like an oncologist to see how the cancer or the chemo is going, the same way you would go and see how much this tumor is shrinking. And they would say, oh, this is doing great. We don't need more. Or, hey, we think you can use one more. And they would go ahead and apply another one if needed.
And what are the chances of it not working?
Like 0.01%. We pretty much de-risked it. So we know that it works. That's the exciting part. We just don't know how many chips it's going to take.
Give us an idea of the market size. How many cancer patients would be suitable for this type of treatment?
That's a great question. So there is about 600,000 people that get diagnosed with cancer every year and about 1.8 million new cases. So there's a huge market there. We are actually looking at targeting GI cancers in the colorectal, which is our beachhead. So it starts with 150 patients in total. That's the total market size. What we can service is about half of that, so 60%. And what we aim to actually target is about 12,000 patients. Here's a fun stats that you guys might like. By treating 3,000 patients, we hit the $1 billion mark in revenue. Woo!
Got any questions for us?
Yeah. So what's the exit for you on this one, like as an investor?
Yeah, that's a great question. So we have several exit opportunities. One is basically an M&A, right, with a pharma company or a medical device company that wants to buy us out. Another is to do an IPO. So after this, for example, if we raise 10 million, we would raise a large Series A to commercialize. We do a crossover round, we get public. That's potentially another. And then the third is that we would actually spin off different indications and sell each part individually. And the last thing I also want to mention is because we have global patents, we can actually sell this globally to different industries that require it. And it's not only limited to cancer. So it's a platform. You can use it for opioids, hormone delivery, and other things as well.
What are your moats? What protects you from the competition copying your approach?
That's a great idea. It's a great question. So the number one thing that protects us are obviously the patents. The patents are issued until 2039 in US, UK, Europe, Hong Kong, China, Australia, South Africa, Syria, and a couple of other places. So that itself protects us. The other thing is that the way we've built these patents out is 110 pages. We built it in a way that anyone who's trying to do a drug delivery system will not be able to do it because we've put every type of variation that can possibly exist on this earth in terms of the type of drugs, the type of materials, the size, the way we make it. So that's how it's covered.
What are you going to do for an encore? When this thing becomes $1 billion, then what's next? Is there a Are there more 3D printed devices that go inside the body that do different things?
I'm so glad you asked that because we have another IP portfolio in the company. It's called BioVessel. So we intend to 3D print blood vessels using your own stem cell, and that's an R&D in the background. But that will be next, and then maybe start a VC because I have some VC experience.
Well, what are you going to invest in when you see?
Biotech. And maybe Bitcoin. You know?
Sure.
I have a last question.
Of
So
course.
you have secured $1.8 million for your C round.
Yes.
How did you deploy that?
In terms of how did we use it? So 40% of that went towards R&D, 20% of that went towards manufacturing, 10%-ish went towards IP, and the remainder was like operations and legal and things of that sort. And we also got a grant for $256,000 by NSF.
Terrific. Well, thank you so much for coming and being
Thank
on
you.
Meet the Draper. Good job. Great job, Dr. Ali. All right.
I love her character.
I'm liking Abu Dhabi even more here.
Yeah.
So what did everybody think? What did Zach, what do you think?
I mean, it's a big potential, right? I mean, $1 billion of revenue from 3,000 patients when she's got a addressable market of 150,000 a year seems like if it works. What if this works, right? If it works, it's going to work pretty well.
Yeah.
And I like that it costs her about $10 to make. She's going to sell it for $10,000. I think that's a good margin.
99%, 0.9. It's like a token.
That's so cheap for the cost of chemotherapy out there, right? This sounds like a miracle because my grandma has been diagnosed with cancer, and I've been with her throughout the whole cycle, all the sessions, all the things. First of all, you pay a lot of money, and second, at some point, patients cannot do more, right? And so if this can start being like as it is and tested, I think it's gonna be a great added value.
I mean, if that works,
Yeah,
it gloms on and reduces the size of the cancer. Wow.
You won't be afraid of cancer anymore.
Well,
Just
there are other cancers, but this is really interesting. I was fascinated.
Great. She's very, very knowledgeable. She really knew her stuff. Most entrepreneurs, as you may know the product, she answered a lot of questions, even the technical, the financial part, the exit. I think overall, one of the best pitches I've seen.
Hey, what did all of you think? What did you think of Dr. Ali? All right. Write that check quickly. Yeah. Any financiers out there, you better get in before I do. All right. So let's bring on our next entrepreneur. Our next entrepreneur is Carla. Are you Carla? From Key to Enable. Welcome to Meet the Drapers.
Now it's working. Hi guys. Hi team. Hi team family now. So I want you guys, I'm Carla, co-founder and CMO at Kitchen Eagle. And I want you guys, all of you guys, to imagine, and some of you guys even might have contact with this. Imagine a child who is non-verbal and does not have motor coordination skills. So this child cannot write their name, they cannot use a keyboard, or engage with traditional technology. Now picture the frustration of parents and teachers who, due to the lack of tools, cannot measure this child's capabilities or even track their learning progress. Well, this isn't just the story of one child. This is a reality for 240 million children with disabilities globally. And UNICEF estimates that almost all 10-year-olds with disabilities cannot read a simple story. So that's why we created the KeyX, and that's Marcelo, my CSO and co-founder. He will be our stand here, like in UFC, when they have the points here. And this is the KeyX. The KeyX is a revolutionary 11-button keyboard and mouse that empowers...
Here, bring it up here, Marcelo. We want to see what this thing is.
Yes.
And the camera probably wants to see it too. Okay, explain what this is.
Yes. So this is a keyboard and mouse to empower children with motor, physical, and cognitive disabilities to type, to use the computer in all the ways they can. And this leads for them to get educated, communicate, be autonomous, and do simple tasks that we do every day, like go through our Instagram, and they can do everything here. So how it works that Marcelo is teaching to Tim right now. Basically,
So far we've just got an M, and now we have a circle dot. So
yeah.
that's the mouse. Now I've been trying lots of things and nothing's happening on your keyboard there.
Minute to show you how to work. Okay, this is the mouse function, so you can have everything that you need in a mouse function. You can go down, you can go up, you can also press.
Oh, sorry. So, okay, yeah. What am I typing a Y? Do I twist these? What do I do?
So for example, if we want to write Tim, for example, we have T here.
Yeah.
We cancel that. You press this pink one because T is here, and then you press the red one here. So,
Oh,
yeah.
boy, this is complicated.
And then we have T here. Okay?
Okay, we got
So
a T.
try again. Yeah.
Now we're trying
Try.
to find an I. We go
Perfect.
Here, here.
Yes.
Okay, now an M would be here, here.
Yeah. So
Okay, we spelled my name. Hey! Now I get it. It's code. It's a code. Now, why is this special? Why is it? Why does this help somebody who can't
it's
move?
a combination of colors and symbols because people with motor disabilities, they cannot use the keyboard because they need spacing. So that's the way, not us, cerebral palsy man that we know in Brazil. He created this combination. So we have all the commands of a regular keyboard and mouse in just that small panel, okay? Which is small because the other competitors, they do something that is the size of the stage, okay? So basically, our hardware goes hand in hand with our customizable learning platform, which enables teachers to create play-based activities on any language in any subject in less than 5 minutes. And it connects to the KeyX, ensuring a fun and interactive learning experience. We have
How far along are you with it?
we are
You clearly made at least one of them. How many have you made? How many have you sold?
we sold 30,000.
And how much are they? How much do you?
They are $1,500, but we are selling mainly to the schools. So we do a package for them of this with the software, the learning platform, and we have other devices as well. But this is the main one.
Wait, you've sold. How many did you say you sold?
35,000.
We have 30,000 users, and we are being
30,000 times
Yes.
1,000? You're at $30 million revenue rate?
no, because a lot of them are in schools, so we put them in a classroom, and many children can
Oh,
use
it
it.
reaches 30,000.
Yeah,
people.
yes. Yeah.
Oh, okay. How many have you sold?
We sold around 800. Yeah, 800.
About 800
Yes.
times, and each one's $1,000. So 800,000 in sales.
Yeah.
That's terrific.
When?
And are the schools recommending them to each other?
Yes, 100%. Yes, because once they put there, they see that the kid is being included, so they can learn with mainstream kids without disabilities. So that's why. And schools right now, they need to be inclusive. There's laws, policies, every country, every district, for example, in USA. So that's why.
How much does it cost to make that?
$400.
500?
Four.
400.
Yes.
So decent margin.
Yeah.
And then do the schools, how do they find out about you? You're knocking on doors?
We are knocking on doors because we need help from someone, maybe you. So we
What,
do
you
the
want me to
pilots.
knock on doors for you?
No.
I've done that. That's how I got started in the venture business.
No. But we are piloting. Everything we have been doing is organically. So in Brazil, because we're from there, it's our main market. We are working with the public sector. So that made things easier for us because one state.
You're from
refers to the-
Brazil.
Yes.
What brings you to Abu Dhabi?
Yes. So we won the grant from Hub 71 3 years ago. And we came here and we stayed and kind of don't want to leave right now.
So Carla, did you start this since 2018?
We started in 2018. Yes.
So when did you start the production? 2018.
When
You started the production in 2018.
production started 2017, but we started like go to market only in Brazil in 2018. By the end of 2018, we went to the US actually, but we paused that to come here because we are a small team. So back then, this was a better opportunity.
So we are 2023. So from 2018 to 23, you made sure to sell 800.
800 in Brazil is a kind of a different story. We sold a little bit more there because it's they have all like programs for inclusivity. So we do a different business model in Brazil.
Yeah. So why took you 6 years to sell 800 devices? Why took you 6 years to sell 800?
Why haven't you sold more?
Yeah, that's it. From 2017, we started with just the keyboard. From 2017 until 2019, we were inside the field learning with children with disabilities and also learning with the teachers that we made other kind of solutions. So we have the keyboard, we have accessories, we make the educational platform. And I can say that during COVID, it was the biggest sales that we made. We started selling. It was the go-to-market direction. It was 2020.
What is what are the challenges in increasing the sales? Is it the cost of the device? Is it
This is one of the challenges, the cost of the device. So we are raising actually because we want to manufacture and lower down the costs and make accessible because most assistive technologies, we don't have a direct competitor. Something close to us, it starts at $4,000 and it addresses only one child with one disability. So as Marcelo was saying, we in the beginning didn't look like that. It was mainly for motor disabilities like cerebral palsy or a stroke. But we started to change during the years so we can address a lot of different disabilities. So right now, basically what we don't address, it's vision or hearing disabilities. All the rest, they can use this.
How do you market this?
Right now, as I said, we are doing everything organically. So we do pilots with the schools, and ideally we go to the public sector and try to do some kind of program with them. Yeah.
Terrific. Well, Carla,
Thank
thank
you.
you so much for coming up with this. Terrific. And notice she has her, it's always good when the entrepreneur has a logo of their business on their t-shirt. All right. So what did everybody think of Carla?
So I love the mission. I love the impact. I love how she's trying to help kids. I think it's quite challenging making it scalable, right? Being able to sell it to a bigger market. I'd love to see a product that was lower cost, that could be more of a B2C rather than selling to the schools, which is more of a B2B.
Yeah, it's a tough business. When I did it though, I found that it was kind of fun. So I didn't feel like it, maybe they don't have to be limited to just the market they're going after. Any kid would kind of like to be able to sort of code that. It was a little bit of like solving a code to type in my name. So maybe there are other markets that they can go after, maybe something beyond that. What did you think?
Yeah, first thing is scalability. I'm a little bit concerned that it took them like 6 years to be able to sell 800, so there is a problem there, right? I'm concerned a little bit about the marketing and what type of marketing they're doing. But I add to your point, it would be interesting to add that either entertainment to it, because then you could look at other markets and expand better, right?
Yeah.
I mean, if they could, other children could use this as a tool for them, just not, to learn or something else, that would be probably an added value to the brand.
Harry, what did you think?
I think the first thing I really was trying to understand is just as an entrepreneur myself, there's a lot of Zach, myself, even at Duck Valley, there's a story behind why they did this. So, I kind of, maybe I missed the story of kind of why they're building this. I think it's great for mission, but I think it's important kind of even know the genesis of why they're doing this. so esoteric. And because it's esoteric, the market size is typically a lot smaller. What I'd love to see is but they should maybe build something so that maybe everybody in the classroom can use it, and then again, I'm economies of scale from that price becomes much more. So that would be my just kind of my.
And the price point of $1,000,
It's a bit high for people.
is a lot high, very high for a game, for a toy. But so it really kind of has, for that price, has to be mission critical. But if they sold a lot of them, they could make them cheaper.
I think if they tweaked a couple of things,
Economy of scale.
yeah.
Terrific. Okay, well, let's. This is exciting, huh? Hey, what'd you all think? That was fun. What'd you think of this Carla and the key to enable? All right. So let's move on to our next entrepreneur. But before we do, just wanted to make sure that all of you know that that you can see my odd and strange comments on Twitter at Tim Draper. You can go visit our game at meetthedrapers.com, and you can play this fun game, and it is fun. And then you can judge our contestants and make fake money. You know about that, right? We have it's always real money. Absolutely, absolutely. So we have some money that you can kind of invest in these companies, and that's fun on our game. And you can vote and maybe move one of these incredible entrepreneurs on to the finale. So let's move on to our next entrepreneur. But before we do, let's see what's going on behind the scenes. All right, let's bring on our next entrepreneur. And fix my tie. All right, we have Kazuya from BitGrid.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. My name is Kazuya from BitGrid, and here, along with my partner Saksham, is here for the content Q&A session. And have you ever imagined AI future? I believe that AI will communicate each other and run without human intervention in the future. However, this world is now doesn't have a lot of source for or algorithms AI can look for, which is harder for AI itself, self-machine learning. And we provide algorithm library for everyone. For big, we provide to huge company, and for small, we can provide to AI itself, as well as AI, with crypto payment feature. In detail, we funded cost from investor to run a competition, and we get 3 top algorithms from the data scientists, and we are made available to our library. And after that is used by user, we will share the profit, distribute to profit investor and data scientist and BitGrid. And me itself is over 6 years experience in crypto and data science layer, and my co-founder Tetsuo have marketing and management for over 10 years. We already have a competition with a big company, NASA and SoftBank, and we have over 30,000 data scientists in our community, which is the second largest online community for data scientists across the globe. And we want to provide algorithm library for everyone, and we already do some progress and we selected Hub 71, and we want to spread this system to the every data scientist and also AI itself.
So the idea is that you crowdsource algorithms.
Yes.
And you bring them all together. And when you say everyone, you really mean all the data scientists. I mean, I'm not going to be somebody who's shopping for algorithms.
Yes.
But all the data scientists. And so you do this crowdsource, you bring them all together, and then people can you create a marketplace for algorithms.
Yes, sir.
Terrific. And do you have any sense for what people are paying for algorithms right now and what it's worth?
Yeah.
What's it worth to all the data scientists in the world?
Okay.
So actually, there are two platforms in our ecosystem. So one is where we're talking about competitions, where we crowdsource AI from all across the community of data scientists that we have. So in this case, we had competitions with like NASA, SoftBank for different custom problem statements of theirs. Now, the second component is a patented technology that we have. That's an AI marketplace. So it's equivalent to App Store back in the days when apps were just getting started, right? So any data scientist can deploy, scale, and monetize all of their artificial intelligence models and sell them off to companies.
So help me with something. Give me an example of how this would be used. Where would you say, okay, here's an algorithm. A lot of people are going to want this algorithm. They're willing to pay a lot of money for this algorithm. What's a good example?
So the first thing is that we're not selling algorithms directly on the market. It's one of the options, but the main thing is that companies can try algorithms on a pay-per-use basis. So what it means is you don't have to share your
Okay, get specific.
Okay.
Well, I'm a company.
Yeah.
Why do I use this?
Okay, I'll give you two different instances. So one is, for example, of a transaction routing problem. So there are banks and you have to have an AI solution of which corresponding bank you have to route a transaction through. The same thing basically translates for a shipping optimization problem, right? Now it's the same model. You have a similar data set about where it starts from, what is the value of the transaction and where it goes, but it has use cases in multiple different industries. So that's where you don't have to share your confidential data set. You just plug it in with the model on the cloud and it starts operating by itself. The biggest advantage is it's not an upfront payment or an upfront investment of yours. So you plug in your model and you do a pay-per-use basis. So the data scientist retains IP of the model, and overall you are able to test out a particular AI use case before you actually put in your investments into it.
So how does Big Grit make money?
So right now there are, again, if I talk about the two platforms that we have, competitions are go on a case-to-case basis. So there are public competitions and there are private competitions. So public competitions are the ones that are open up to people all across the globe. Anyone can participate openly. But there are private competitions that are basically sold by partners or they're used internally for hackathons and training of their teams. The AI marketplace is where we share remuneration with the data scientists 50-50. So if there's a company and if, for example, every API used for that particular model, they're charging like $10, that basically goes $5 to BitGrid and $5 to the data scientists. So they retain IP and they start making money out of it.
And how do you prevent yourself from getting circumvented?
Because one of the main problems that actually comes in the entire loop is data scientists are not able to deploy their models at scale. So that is where the ecosystem and the technology that we have comes into action. So every time that there's a model being created, it is automatically deployed on our MLOps infrastructure that's on cloud. And that's where any company can use it through an API. Otherwise, they'll have to go through the entire process of actually setting it up as an independent service, as an independent company and market that out to people.
I saw something in crypto. Explain that part to me.
For sure. So actually, the BGR token is one of the most important elements of the entire
You guys have a
ecosystem.
token?
Yeah, we had one in Japan and that had a bit of problems because of the regulatory environment over there. So they tax you on the total market cap and that's 50%. So we have to recall the token and we're launching it again under ADGM in the next couple of months. We'll have an IEO and that is going to, be along with the entire platform.
So my question is, why are you guys launching a regulated token? Why aren't you launching a utility token?
So there's a bit of a difference. One is, first of all, the token is used as a remuneration mechanism. So every time an API call is used, the data scientist at the end is incentivized for it. Plus, there's a peer review, so there are a lot of incentives in terms of how people are actually engaging with the entire marketplace. Every particular AI model will have people that actually review it, just like the academic circles. So you have a research paper, for example, and then there are peer reviewers that actually care about the quality of that particular research.
And one more thing why we using crypto is for the AI itself, AI asking to the AI marketplace using our algorithms. These quantities are very small and very frequently. In that time, crypto is good for the payment AI and AI marketplace itself. That's why we're using crypto inside.
Right. So I guess my question is, why don't you guys do like an unregulated utility token so that it can be traded in DeFi or something like that? Like, do you guys have a DeFi strategy?
Yeah, overall, we did not have any of the financial structures where we are probably deflating it or kind of categorizing it as a security. But what happened was that we had to kind of get that licensed under one of the companies and have them as a payment mechanisms within the ecosystem. Because if there's a utility token that is not kind of backed by any of the use cases within the ecosystem, it just didn't make sense in order to kind of get it out in the open as a sales mechanism.
So you said that some of your clients are NASA, something like Turkey government. What type of agreement do you have with your clients?
So, for example, with NASA, we had a competition where the prize money was nearly $100,000. It was a very specific problem statement where they had to find correlations between biomedical entries and research papers. So, it was in collaboration with the National Library of Medicine as well as encapsulates. And in that particular scenario, you have, a two-phase competition where it was spread out across teams all over the world, and they were participating in order to get to the best possible solution. Now, once you do that, you know for a fact that the solution you're getting is the best because there are different permutations and combinations of AI models, and they are being ranked for their accuracy in real time. So, based on that, the best performing model is then given over to the organization that is hosting the competition, and they are able to deploy that in their systems.
Terrific. Well, thank you so much for being on Meet the Drapers. Great. Thanks so much for presenting. Thank you for answering all the questions. Well done. And we'll go back to the judges. So, judges, what'd you think?
Well, it seems like I'll start first because I think the idea is great, but it probably fits better in a tokenized model than a traditional, I would say, equity type model. So if they just kind of fix that or work with another project that actually deploys the tokens, using tokens actually for a marketplace for back and forth, it's actually a great idea. But I think the issue with a regulated token, if you're building, you're going to have trouble with liquidity. None of the exchanges are going to be able to list it. And even in DeFi, it becomes a challenge. So I think if you're having crypto as a big part, you really have to have somebody that understands how crypto actually works for utility. That's my big part. But ideas great.
Yeah, two things. The first thing is the token model, and the second, which is the mistake that every single entrepreneur makes, they don't introduce themselves in the first place, right? So we heard of NASA, SoftBank, and Tokyo government, but I would love to learn more about the entrepreneurs themselves.
Yeah, the story.
Right?
They don't know what the story.
I don't know the story of it, and that makes the whole point, right? Yeah.
Yeah, still trying to understand what I just heard. I mean, in some ways, I was wondering if is this a hammer looking for a nail, or is it solving a real existential problem? I would have loved to understand how they generated $5 million of revenue, where that came from. So it's one that I have to think a lot more about before I can.
And one more thing, they raised when I looked at the company valuation. They raised a bridge round of about 150 grand, but the post-money valuation is 25 million.
Was what?
It's 25 million, that's what it is. So I was like, that's a bit high.
Well, if they've got $5 million in revenue, that's probably not too unreasonable.
The last round, 25 million post-money.
But the thing I was pretty interested in how they're doing this, because I do think that there's something to marketplaces for scientists, for data scientists, for all scientists. And I think tokens are going to be a big part of that. The thing, I think Zach's question was, how do you avoid them going around you, is a good one, because an algorithm is very hard to protect. It's like if you came up with a new financial vehicle, we'd all copy it, and it would be a very hard thing to protect. And I think the same thing's true of an algorithm. But 5 million in revenue, you don't scoff at that.
Yeah. And another thing, the first, which is I would like to learn more of the scalability model. And the second, as an investor, how do I make money from this?
Right, absolutely. That's always a good question for an investor. All right. So let's bring on our next entrepreneur. But before we do, and now I think I want the whole audience to do the eyebrow thing.
A lot of ladies.
And then we'll see. Wow, I see some good eyebrows there. Wow. That's like a 3-inch vertical on your eyebrow. Very nice. But before we do, let's see what's going on behind the scenes. Okay, we're down to our final entrepreneur of the day. Judges. Oh, what about all of you? What'd you think of BitGrid? Let's hear it for BitGrid. All right. A little more enthusiasm over there. All right. So now, let's hear from our next entrepreneur. It's Amrit. All right. It's Aaron posthumous. So it's like after you've been a human.
After death, actually, is what it means. And
oh, after death.
Eagle, so eagle after
and you're
death.
wearing black. It's sort of like, yeah, we're finishing with sort of a maudlin finale. But okay, so the business is called Moment.
Moments, yeah.
And give us your pitch.
Great. So, hi, my name is Aaron. I have a background in cybersecurity and product development. I was at the helm of a venture studio that was building software at multi-million-dollar valuations, all while our home country was facing daily rolling blackouts. Me and my team wanted to stop building apps and start solving a massively transformative purpose. In South Africa alone, there's a $28 billion funding gap for solving the problem of renewable energy finance. Of course, across the world, the opportunity is much bigger than that, but we're focusing on this market first and foremost because it's the market that we know, and also because there's a new massive tax incentive that's an opportunity that has to be seized immediately. So we created a project in January this year that allows private investors to purchase parts of solar installations. These solar installations are powering businesses like schools, factories, and farms, and the earnings from their bills gets distributed right back to those investors through secure contracts on the blockchain, right? Our investors love this because they get to power businesses in developing economies with renewable energy, but it's not a charity. They make about 12% per annum on their investment, right? And their ownership stake is liquid, and it's tradable in 160 jurisdictions around the world already. This is something that's never been done before with a digital asset in this way. Our businesses and communities love it because they get a mini grid for $0 down. They pay fair rates per kilowatt hour, and they finally get the power that they've been waiting for all this time. We've got about 50,000 users to date and have done $1.4 million in sales. And at our last payout, we distributed earnings to hundreds of investors all over the world. This took us less than 30 seconds and cost us under $3 versus days and thousands of dollars if you were to do this in traditional financial rails. So this is part of the reason why we've won many awards. I don't have time to go through all of those here today, but we're just getting started. We have a pipeline of about $20 million worth of incredible schools, farms, and factories waiting for their power. The question is, Drapers, are you going to help us get it to them?
Okay, so now, as I understand it, you are going out to financiers. They're putting money into you. You're then going and buying a bunch of solar panels. You're putting them into a remote town in some place in South Africa or wherever.
So South Africa's energy grid is actually quite interesting. In the biggest cities like Cape Town, where I'm from, they're still rolling blackout. So we're talking about a modern city, not too dissimilar to this. Really powerful businesses.
So it's more backup energy or their first energy?
This is their energy, yeah.
Okay, so you want to hit me too? Okay. One more. So it doesn't seem as though there's anything particularly unique here, because someone else can easily do the same thing.
Not at all. So we've actually been working on the technology for about 2.5 years, and we've spent significant time and money on the legal models as well as the legal frameworks. Like I said, this hasn't been done in this way ever before. It's a unique ownership model where you actually directly own the underlying asset. So it acts kind of like a bearer bond. If you were to transfer it to your son or daughter, they automatically become the owner of the site. Now, you can imagine if you're a big BP or petroleum, you no longer have to call up your lawyers, pay thousands of dollars in fees to cede those rights. You can just transfer the token. And the contracts are embedded in the token themselves. We've got some incredible advisors like Roland Tatnall, who led a $3
What's the
billion.
average size of the investment into this?
The great thing is because you can fractionalize it,
Yeah.
we can support up to $5. That's actually the last slide.
You mean down to $5?
Down to $5.
But what's the average investment?
The average investment is about $279 from our user base right now, per user.
So I see Ethereum, Polygon, and Cardano. Explain to me the blockchain play. And
Yeah, so from day one, we wanted to make sure we were blockchain agnostic, so we can support multiple chains, and this was important so that we're resilient. Important to note, we pay out in USDC, so it's not a speculative coin, but it obviously does give you that capability to immediately interact with a Web3 ecosystem.
why don't you guys have a token?
We haven't launched a token yet.
Are you going to for investors?
We absolutely could.
Yeah, is there a secondary market for these interests?
Thank you so much for that question. So yeah, we actually saw a 260% secondary trade on our first project, which was a high school, because there was a lot of demand from the community for that project. We didn't anticipate that kind of secondary market activity, but this effectively means...
What do you mean by 260%
So every token
of
sold
the original token?
more than 2.5 times changed hands. So you can sell your token on the secondary
And are
market
you
to anyone
taking
else.
money on the trades?
Absolutely, 1.1% on every trade on the marketplace. And then the rest of the model is a typical hedge fund model. So we take 2% on payouts and 20% performance fees above the yield.
So that secondary market is all on a marketplace that you control?
That's a marketplace that we built, but these are ERC 721 tokens, which is fancy speak for they're interoperable on all other marketplaces.
NFTs.
Yeah.
What's the average price per kilowatt hour of energy?
In South
that you're
Africa, it's
from?
about R2.80, but it does depend on the whole business, where they are. And
R2.80 for the
Per kilo.
normal grid. But what about for your?
Oh no, for the normal grid, it's as high as R4.50. We charge our customers a flat rate of R2.
So why don't you charge them more so your investor can get better than 12%?
So we actually have a very refined model that makes sure that like everybody's kind of winning out of the solution. The normal grid goes up to R4, but it also comes down to like R2 as well. It's a very complicated system. We offer our investors, our like sites simplicity. So it's a flat rate at a 10% increase per annum, which is really great for our investors.
When energy prices swing like crazy, so if you've got really high energy prices, that might be.
We're not tied to the prices of the country. So we've set our price in at a set escalation rate. Now we know what it's going to be for the tenure of the contract, which on average is 20 years, by the way. So guys are signing up for 20 years. 20 years at a 12% yield. I mean, you can say property is gold, right? If you're looking at a 6% yield and maybe a 2-year lease agreement, this is like double that.
I'm going to ask you two questions.
Yeah.
When did you start this?
So we've been building blockchain technology for 2.5 years. We launched this product January.
Okay, so you've raised 350 plus another 1.15. That's
Correct.
1.5 million.
Yeah.
You've secured 55,000 users.
Yeah.
And you've made sure to sell more than around $1.4 million in sales.
Correct.
How did you do that?
The last 12 months.
How did you do that?
How did we do that? Really great question. So we actually did a whole YouTube like content marketing approach. What I love about content marketing is it always stays on. You don't have to keep investing in it. So we've got a YouTube channel with over 2.5 million views. I actually need to check that. It's probably more as we speak, especially after this show.
And you're the star of the YouTube channel?
Well, our whole team is the star of the show. Yeah.
Yeah, if all of you would go onto their YouTube channel they'll have 70 million viewers.
Hell yeah.
So it's all educational content.
You guys have an affiliate
It's
model?
all educational content, right?
Sorry?
It's all educational content.
Yeah, so we actually have a series called In the Moment, which is just following our journey as a startup to becoming a unicorn, which we know we will be. You gotta be confident. And yeah, we also are really good at getting in press. We've gotten over 450 unique impressions just in press. Al Jazeera, Bloomberg, local stations everywhere. And then I want to answer the affiliate question because it's a really good one. We do have an affiliate program right now. So we give away our 1.1% initial sale fee to the affiliate who brings on the sale. So yeah. Any other questions, guys? There's a lot.
Terrific. Aaron, thanks so much for being on Meet the Drapers. Terrific. Well done. Yeah, I think Aaron will get to be a unicorn one way or another, right? Great. Well, let's start with the audience. What did you all think? Let's hear it for Aaron. All right, Harry, what did you think?
I think the idea is great. Actually, my co-founder on the Life.com, he's actually from South Africa, so I know about the South Africa energy problem. In fact, that's something to solve it is great and use blockchain technology. I'm really, really curious to see the utilities that they'll issue. Something that's really important. That actual utility that you can actually.
Yeah. So what I like the most is the marketing post, right? Because what they did is something really interesting and smart. So they started producing content, right? And for this type of business, like you have to pay a lot for marketing fees just to be everywhere and stuff. So they've used a very smart technique, which is just creating content and spreading it all around. They have started this in January, and they're almost in their break even. If they've raised 1.5 and they've made 1.4 million in sales up to date from January, they're almost in their break even. So if he was talking about being a unicorn, we might hear it again soon.
Well, I love his energy. I mean, I would never bet against somebody who has that kind of energy. Seems like he'd run through a brick wall. But at the same time, and I know about this problem in South Africa, and it's a global problem. We need to produce more renewable energy. We need more innovative financing structures. I mean, it's a multi-trillion-dollar funding gap. So this could be a part of it. One of the challenges I had, though, 12% yield. To invest in Africa or to invest in, developing markets, frontier projects, a couple of years ago, 12% sounded great, but today it's not that hard to find 12% yield. So I think you got to find a way to crank that up to get people to take the risk. The other thing I kind of worry about, and we were talking about it earlier, the secondary market. What ends up happening with a lot of these is that the secondary market emerges at a big discount. And then that makes you kind of worried to come into the primary market because if the secondary market's going to trade at a discount, then why would you buy in the primary? And if you can't buy in the primary, then you get no issuance. So I think those are two things I'd want to hear more about.
The thing I look for is what happens in the long term, and in the long term, he will have a lot of competition, and there will be a race to the bottom. So the margins will shrink all the way down, and it will be very difficult for him to keep this business going the way it is. But he'll get a lot of customers, and then eventually, he can sell them other things. Okay, so what do you all think? Oh, you all liked it. That was great. Yeah, that's fun. Okay, so now. We have a very difficult decision to make. We have to decide which of these four entrepreneurs are going on to the semifinals. And as you may know, at Meet the Drapers, we always fund the winner at $1 million, and sometimes others of them get funding along the way. And we do it in such a way that they go through a semifinal, and then we have a big finale. And the big finale has 6 entrants. And 3 of those entrants come from the semi-finalists going through, and then we choose 3 finalists, and 3 of them come from you, the audience, out there, voting to see which of our contestants should go on to the finale. So all 4 of these people may be in the finale. You never know. But we are going to only choose 1. And it's a very complicated system we have here. You have to send your energy to the crystal ball, and I need to feel that energy, and then we'll end up with a final decision. But before we do that, we'd like to bring out all the entrepreneurs we've seen today. And this is what we say when you get to face the music. And we like the entrepreneurs to feel the just raw feedback that you get from the judges. And so I'm going to ask the judges to say who they think was the winner and what they and maybe some advice they might have for one of the other ones. So who we have here, we have Biosapien, dedicated to using an innovative solution that 3D prints and kills cancer. Key to enable the new product toy that allows people who are disabled to communicate with the world. We have BitGrit, the company that aggregates all the data scientists' algorithms and creates a marketplace for them. And we have Moment, the company that is going to power all of Africa through a unique financial model. So Harry, tell us who was your favorite and what advice do you have for one of the others?
Well, I definitely think my favorite was Knockouts. The close second was from South Africa, obviously. And then advice for the other panel, the other entrepreneurs. I think present yourself a little bit more. Tell your story a little bit more. Get into the pitch later, because at the end of the day, venture and investing is all about investing in the people. So we want to know the story. We want to know why you're building the product and why you're doing it.
All right, good. How about you, Hassan?
I'd say the first would go to Ellie. So the reason behind that is, first of all, the way she presented herself, right? She told you the her story. When you introduced her, she said, I'm Dr. Ellie, so she made sure to tell you that she's a doctor, right? She's not coming from nowhere to present this. The story behind it, she talked about her dad, so it's coming from somewhere. I like the fact that, there are other clients that you're dealing with. She made sure to tell you the whole story. And the other thing is how you can make money as Tim or as the Drapers, right? And that's the advice I would give to the rest of the entrepreneurs is when you're pitching to someone, just make sure that you tell the whole story because they don't know anything about you. A lot of entrepreneurs think that we would know, but in fact, we don't know. What's the reason behind it? Why do you believe in it? Who are you? What's your passion? And what are you looking for exactly? A lot of entrepreneurs don't know what they're looking for. They just come and expect you to guide them, right? And that's the advice I would give you.
Terrific. Okay, Zach, who's your winner?
I'm also going to vote for Biosapien. I mean, thinking about Biosapien, I look at this, the valuation, and I think, what if this works, right? If this works, this is so big. This could make so much money. This is a lot of X's, right? So I really loved it, and it sounds like it could work. I mean, it sounds like a great technology. She really thought about her moats and how to protect herself, the competition out from copying her. So I really like that. I think it could be a lot of X's. I think, piece of advice, maybe key to enable. I really like your product. I love the mission. I love, I could really see that you're driven. I'd love to see. You were comparing yourself a lot to the competitors, how much their product costs. It sounds to me like you could play the infinite game, right? Playing against yourself. Think about how you can just make your product as great as you can, and maybe lower cost, something that could sell to a bigger market. Because it seems like it could be a lot of fun and could help a lot of kids.
Another thing, please change those faces. Be happy. Be passionate about what you do, right? It's all about learning. This is not the end of it. You're learning new things. You're growing. You're expanding. Don't lose hope. I don't like to see those faces.
And I wish Biosapien had a token strategy. Okay. Even better.
Even Biosapien has a token strategy.
Everybody should have a.
I think everybody needs a token strategy.
Especially now.
If you come out having watched this episode 2 of season 7 of Meet the Drapers and you don't have a token strategy, you've missed something very important. So, thank you, Harry, for that. So, Biosapien, you can't, Dr. Ali, we'll always remember that because you corrected me very quickly and very efficiently. You presented yourself well. The opportunity is vast. The question in my mind is it going to work? And but it's very inventive and it's really clever. And so we were very, very pleased to see you here on the show. Carla with Key to Enable. It is interesting. A lot of really interesting things come from people creating products to help people who are disabled in one way or another. A lot of real innovation. It's a little like when Kennedy said we're going to the moon, no one realized how many new technologies that would be created around going to the moon. So you created this new code. The market you're going after is relatively small, and selling to schools is really tough. So it may be that you need to start to really rethink the whole plan. Maybe you start here, and then maybe there are some toys for everyone, something interesting there. BitGrid. So I think I would have a lot of trouble presenting my business in Japanese. So clearly we had a communications difficulty. But there was one thing that I would recommend, and that is you are solving a big problem, and you didn't tell the world that you're solving that problem. The problem is that data scientists need a marketplace. All scientists need a marketplace. And tokenizing markets is a way to create those marketplaces. And so I think that would have helped your pitch. We have no sense of how big that market is, so that was kind of a difficult thing. But I think you're going after something that really matters, and you're at $5 million in revenue, so go for it. Keep going. Good job. And Moment, you're solving a very important problem. You are grabbing resources that otherwise may not have found you, and you're solving a major problem in South Africa that will be solved in many other places. Now, I have seen this business model before several times. So you do have competition, and you will have competition. And what I'm concerned about is it a race to the bottom? Does it end up being a race to where the competition moves to 18% return and a lower cost of energy, and then you drive each other out of business? Is there something that you can do for an encore? That's kind of what's going on in my head. And then let's just ask the audience out there, which one is it? Is it Biosapien, Key to Enable, BitGrid, or Moment? And just say it at the top of your voice as loud as you can. 1, 2, 3. Key to Enable! Okay, I think that helped. We're going to now do what we always do. We can think whatever we want, but it's really up to the crystal ball as to who goes forward to the semifinals. And anybody know any magic words? Oh, blah, blah.
Abracadabra.
Oh, abracadabra. Oh, Bajula. Oh, yeah. Is it's getting out of control here. Is it, are we helping people who have like problems? Are we solving a big issue in energy? What are we doing? We're doing Biosapiens! And congratulations, Biosapiens! Congratulations, you move on to the semifinals. And each of you can look and convince the camera that you should also be voted in. And congratulations for being on Meet the Drapers. Great to have you. Judges, well done. Welcome to the family. Great to have the Drapers. Well done, Harry. Welcome to the family. Zach, welcome to the Drapers. It's great to have you. And then here's how we finish it. We say 1, 2, 3. See you next time on 1, 2, 3. Meet the Drapers. Okay, ready? Okay. And we look down here. Ready? See you next time on Meet the Drapers! All right. Good job. All right, everybody up and down. You're sitting down for too long.
We'll improve the future with our tech. AI.
Ladies and gentlemen, please give another round of applause for the one and only Tim Draper! Once again, congratulations to the winning team, Biosapiens, the Hub 71 startup! And let's give another Abu Dhabi round of applause to Tim Draper and the entire show team of Meet the Drapers! You can go have fun, you can start businesses.